You're listening to the Nobodies podcast. It's another somebody session in which these nobodies bring on a somebody who is an expert or rising star in their field.
This week, our somebody is a featured staple in the groundbreaking and jaw-dropping HBO Max documentary film Fake Famous. The film explores the meaning of fame and influence in the digital age through an innovative social experiment by following three Los Angeles-based people with relatively small Instagram followings and attempts to make them into famous influencers by any means necessary. This week's somebody is one of the film stars, Wylie Heiner. All right, we're recording. You start.
Okay, first of all, do not tell me what to do.
Walked right into that one.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm Annie.
And I'm Bryce.
And we are the Nobodies, experts on nothing.
Opinions on everything.
Oh, is this where I say hello? Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. So close.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good enough.
It's good.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys.
Everyone.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Nobodies. Wylie, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I don't think I am in the category as a somebody yet, but I appreciate that very much.
I think you are.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we really want to be fake famous, but we're clearly not, hence the name of our podcast, The Nobodies. But congratulations on the film. In your own words, just real quick for the listeners, can you tell them what the film is about?
Of course. I mean, I felt like I didn't know what the film was about during the entire experiment, but seeing it all come together was amazing. But it's, I think in a short way to sum it up is it really just shows the underbelly of social media, specifically Instagram, and just how I think everything's very fake, much faker than you thought it would be. And a lot of bots, a lot of, purchasing of the bots. And the bots, I feel like, were the fourth character of the whole documentary.
Totally.
Yeah. And my big Yukon.
Oh yes, yeah, your car and your cell phone. Everybody's cell phone. But so as we mentioned, the film follows you and also an aspiring actress, Dominique, and a clothing designer, Chris, through a social experiment in hopes of making you all Instagram famous. We'll get into the details, but overall, were you happy with how it came out?
So happy. I know. No, I was. And I literally just wrote a thank you letter to the director, Nick. And I was like, it's a thank you letter, but also an apology letter. And I apologize for ever doubting you because I thought it turned out really great. I thought it was so well done. The music was my favorite part. It was really great. And I thought it was awesome. It was a very cool experience.
Was it like what you expected it to turn out to be, or was it different? Like, what were you?
Completely different from, I laugh because I originally thought it was going to be like a small little indie flick. Like, I didn't even believe it was ever going to come out. And then 2 weeks prior to MLK Day, they were like, all right, like, we're going to show you guys. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's real. And then they showed it to us and I was just blown away. It was I thought, great visuals, everything. And then at the bottom of the screener, they're like, here are your publicist's email addresses. So I scheduled a meeting with them and, I was expecting, once again, small indie flick, like just the three of us on a Zoom, and I log on and there were like 14 of us on this Zoom. And like, you got like the PR people, the marketing people, like the social media, the content. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not a little like I thought it was.
That's wild. I'm curious, and they may have gotten into this a little bit in the documentary. I can't really remember. I watched it, I think, the day it came out. How did you even come across this opportunity? Like, I know it came from a casting call and that sort of thing, but were you looking to get into acting or doing these sort of things?
No,
okay.
And it's so crazy the way it happened. So I, 9-to-5 job, classic. Like, I didn't move to LA to become famous. Like, no shame in anybody who does. But Dom and Chris had goals, and I had no goals. But I was in line at that club. What's it called? Good Time with Davey Wayne's.
Oh.
That club back before COVID, and it was in Hollywood. And I was in line, and this guy named Diego was on a date with some random girl. We were in line for an hour. We hit it off. Like, I just was like, you've got to meet our friends, whatever. Never saw her again. But 3 months later, she referred me to her roommate, who was a casting agent's assistant. And they just had me submit a video. And then they're like, all right, we'll show up to the casting call. And then that was the only time we ever did anything in person. Like the rest was just over phone calls, and like it was just so surreal. It was so weird, but never was really seeking it out. Never went to, that was my first casting call I ever went to, all of that. Yeah.
It's crazy because like in the
That's wild.
casting call, I mean, the whole casting call in the first place was just, didn't they just ask like, do you want to be famous? Wasn't that?
Yes.
And that was,
so I did not come prepared. I didn't realize we were supposed to come with like a talent or like you saw like the what were they
doing twirl it like it was.
Yeah, I was so unprepared. I don't have anything I could have done anyways.
That's hilarious. I mean, so we saw some of the casting process, as you mentioned in the documentary, but we didn't really see like how you got the part, basically. Like we didn't see, what was getting that call like? Was it a call? Was it an email? How did they tell you?
It was I got a phone call from Anna, who you see in the film, and Nick, and I was sitting next to a dumpster in the alleyway of the real estate agent's, my boss's office. I was sitting in the back of an alley next to a garbage truck and dumpster getting the news. And it was great. I was like, let's get out of this alleyway and dumpster and make famous. Yeah.
That sounds like Annie, that sounds like our photo shoot that we did. We did a photo shoot.
We did do a photo shoot. Yep.
We had this idea that actually it was Annie's mom's idea to have to do a photo shoot with, it was like, we were thinking like, okay, we'll go to the pink wall. Like we thought about all this when we started our podcast. We were like, we want to go to all these like influencer places and take pictures by it. And Annie's mom, why don't you tell them what she said? Cause it was hilarious.
So she basically was like, well, why don't you do it in kind of like a location that most influencers wouldn't go to, since you're, nobodies, and maybe like a dumpster. And I was like, actually, I love that.
Yeah, perfect.
That's brilliant. So we went to like a dumpster. We went to a field, like an abandoned field, like with electrical towers on it. It was very, very stupid. I mean, you guys at least got in front of the pink wall, the Paul Smith wall. I mean, it's so insane how these influencers. So at the very beginning of the film, you see these people coming, and the director Nick is doing a voiceover and telling everybody that people spend thousands of dollars to come to Los Angeles, literally to take a picture in front of this pink wall that's on on Melrose. Okay, yes. I mean, I used to live like right down the street from there. How do I not know that? But it's just, I mean, can you guys imagine, either of you imagine doing that, going somewhere and spending thousands of dollars just to take a picture? I mean, I guess that's what all vacations are now.
I guess I was going to say I was just doing that, but overall, I don't think it's worth it. And I am curious if ever since the documentary, I feel like it's just the foot traffic's going to increase. I don't think anything's going to change.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, Annie, would you spend that kind of money?
I mean, I barely want to spend money on groceries, so no.
But on Postmates, I'll spend whatever money you want.
That's a good
facts.
point.
So true.
Okay,
true.
so after you were chosen, we're just kind of going through the film here. I just find it fascinating because then I want to get some advice soon from you about how to build my Instagram following.
Really? Okay.
No, but so after you were chosen, the team got to work in building your Instagram following. What were a few of the more, I mean, you can say what was on the show too. Like, what were a few of the more outrageous things that they had you do that made you realize how fake all of this actually was?
Yeah. I think that the craziest thing I did was, I mean, they had us, you saw us at the fake photo shoot in Nick's backyard, and we were doing all that stuff. And
but that was his backyard?
His backyard. Right?
Nice house.
That was crazy.
That was wild. The one that Dominique did that looked like an airplane window.
Wild, right? Yeah.
But the toilet seat,
I mean,
she put a toilet seat up next to, like, all you did was all they do was buy a toilet seat.
Buy a toilet seat, yeah.
What was even behind it? Was it just
it was his master bedroom TV. They just put like a little background on it. I know, and gave her a champagne flute and a strawberry from the local grocery store.
Yeah. And you were having to take
Crazy.
pictures in front of the fire, and
yeah, that was funny. That was for, and I didn't realize that either. I didn't think of that, but that was for the Christmas shoot. Like, get all the influencers geared up for Christmas. You know, the appeal of Christmas, and hawking all your Christmas gear, which was good. I mean, that was smart. I didn't even realize people did that kind of stuff.
Are there influencer like holidays? I mean, or is just
one? Yeah, I think that influencer holidays happen before the holidays. Like, so they got all their Christmas swag to advertise before. So all those shop. It's a whole industry that is so smart and so complicated and just so overwhelming. And I would not be very good at it, I don't think.
I mean, well, we were seeing the effects of it just on the show, and how what's interesting to me in the film is how different all of your experiences were. You know, you didn't have, and I want to get into that anyway. Well, I'm going to keep going here. Okay. So, as we mentioned, director Nick Bilton was seen several times. Actually, we didn't mention this, so I don't know why I said that. But he was seen buying followers. So he was buying followers for you guys, like setting you up, because that's something that like all influencers do. This is apparently, old habit for them, I guess. But he was also buying, what I thought was weird is he was also buying comments. So I was wondering, why would you need, like, if you have the following, why do you need the comments or the likes even? I mean, isn't it really just about the number on your follower count? Or
so what I got from the process and from the documentary is that the more interactions you have with your followers and your following, like, the more it makes your page and images, like, I don't know, pop up on the explore page and stuff. So you get more followers and all that stuff. Sorry, I'm the White Claw. I'm just like coming a little bit from that. But it's no, I don't even remember what we were saying just now.
No, just like why would you have to have like the comments to go along with
it's
the bots and stuff?
And all that is to give the whole allure that you have this following and people are interested in your life and they want to know more. And like and it just is so unrealistic. And I think you see in the documentary us texting and harassing Nick to like, yo, Nick, where are the likes? Like, where are the comments?
Yeah.
And because we were also concerned that our friends would sort of find out that we had these fake likes and fake followers, and that software is just so outdated. I don't know how anyone can get any work done with those fake likes and fake comments.
Yeah. Well,
I can speak to that too. And sorry guys, if I'm not talking a lot, I don't have a great connection. My Wi-Fi is trash.
You look good now.
Well, good. It's so weird. I don't know what's going on, but I am hearing what you're saying. It also matters when you're working with brands. So Wylie, just some background. Some of my siblings work in social media and have a lot of followers. And so when brands are looking to work with certain accounts that have a lot of followers, they do go directly to look to see what the engagement is. So how many comments, how many likes, and things like that, because it is a little bit of a direct correlation of, okay, are these actual followers or are they bot followers? Mm-hmm. Because typically if you have real followers and you have 1 million followers that are real humans, the engagement is going to be higher on your post than if they're fake followers and they're not interacting whatsoever with you. So a lot of that comes down to like the business aspect of it. I remember my sister explained to me once that you need your engagement to be like over 2 or 2.5% for brands to really want to like pay you for content.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That does make sense. And it's like, that was someone asked us in an interview, like, what's the difference between like an influencer and a normal like celebrity or someone who's famous for any other reason? And it's like, I could be easily wrong, but with what you said, it's so monetarily based on in that industry, in the influencer game, and everything is so motivated by the brands and what brands are going to get attention and all that, like everything you just said, for sure.
Sorry, really quick question. Do you think the director, I know he kind of made this as like a social experiment about making someone with very few followers like Instagram famous. Do you think he was doing it truly as a social experiment, or do you think he was doing it to really expose like how fake and everything it really is?
It felt so much more like it was all exposed, when it all came together, like when we're watching the documentary, and it was sort of exposing it. But I do think like the social dilemma already exposed a lot of that. And what Nick was doing was re-emphasizing that, the social dilemma has exposed it and nothing's changed. Nobody's doing anything different. And, people still want to be influencers when they grow up, as he says. And so it is still an addiction.
What was the worry? What was like because he was always seemed very worried about did it feel illegitimate or something? Did he, when he was buying these followers and likes and comments, he's like, well, we can't let them figure out that this is happening, that we're doing this. Is there something wrong with that? Or is there like a law that says you can't do that? Or like,
I think going back to what Annie said, like the brands, they were always nervous, I think especially with Dom, and they do that engagement test that the brands would catch on to the fake persona, the fake likes and comments and all that stuff. But the bots in that software might be slow, but I think they clearly are good at getting past the brands and showing that they do have engagement if they are fake. And I think, that was the whole experiment. And so if all the brands figured out it was fake, then I think that would just made everything sort of crumble.
Yeah, no, that I guess, that makes sense. I mean, I would like to
another influencer.
Yeah, no, I mean, like Annie would know more than I would. I wish I could like do anything that was sort of influence.
Well, the difference is the reason that Bryce is having a hard time wrapping his head around this is because Bryce wants to be Instagram famous for the sake of having a lot of followers and being Instagram famous, as opposed to turning it into a business opportunity. Like he just wants to be like that dude. Yeah. Whereas most people want to make a lot of money.
Look at me. I'm on a yacht, even though I really there? I mean, it just, I think that it goes back to like what you were saying in the beginning. It's like what you said in the documentary, Wylie. It's like you said that fame seems to be good. Like, why wouldn't anybody want to do that?
It's so hard when they asked us, or they continue to ask us, like, do you want to be famous? What is fame to you? It's so hard to verbalize like what is fame or anything like that, because only such a few select amount of people have experienced real fame and know what it's like. And it's like, it's such a stranger, alien feeling until you get there. And like, I do not think I'm famous. I don't think Chris and Dom consider themselves famous yet, but it's like, it'd be different asking us versus asking like Tom Cruise, but it is a weird feeling. And it is.
Well, he's a Scientologist. So
I know, my favorite also, like, love me some Leah Remini Scientology on a platform. But
I've never watched that show. I hear it's amazing. I just have never seen it.
Good. I feel like I've watched
it so good
4 times. You watch it, Annie? It's so good.
It's so good.
Would you guys ever like go undercover as Scientologists or?
Yes, but I feel like they've already foolproofed that whole system. I just passed the L. Ron Hubbard Museum the other day, and
I was going to say I just passed like a certain level of Scientology. I was like, oh my God, you're already doing it. Do you guys think that Instagram, I feel like there's already like turnover where people are moving away from Instagram, but do you think that this is going to be the platform? Why do you think Nick wanted you guys to just, it was very heavily focused on Instagram.
It was, yeah.
Why do you think that was? Or did he give it really doesn't matter.
I think, and I always reference my sister, and I'm so glad I have like a Gen Z sister. She's 15 now because, she uses Instagram, but not as much as our generation does. And I think that, Instagram just happens to be the Instagram of.
Thank you for thinking that I'm young, because I feel like I'm way older than you. But
I feel like I'm like having like a happy hour gossiping with like a couple 25-year-olds. Like,
oh well, that's really nice.
Oh my God, bless your heart. Thank you so much.
In our 30s,
so flattered.
I'm close to 25, but Bryce is far from it.
Yeah,
Bryce.
I'm 33.
Your ring light.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, my ring light. Oh no, actually, Wylie, this is a totally fake famous thing. I have 2 lamps that are just the shades are off of it, and I put them on either side of me. And this is my makeshift ring light. I also have a TV right in front of me that has a fake. What is this? A aquarium on it that also that is a little light blue
specifically for the Zoom.
Yes. So it just gives you that little blue hue, so I can just feel a little not so like orange, like
those are his production tricks.
Also is behind the screen, and it shows what goes on behind. It is all about exposing. You never know what's going on behind.
But everyone gets so mad at me because like how ugly my background is. If you guys are watching this, which you're probably not, but I have my couch and my ugly blinds, like my
Who gets mad at you for that?
I mean,
Who's
people are
actually
like,
getting mad at you?
Like, they always compliment Annie. They're always like, Annie has that really cool piece of artwork behind her that her boyfriend made, and or like you're in front of something. You're
I know,
always
I have a whole wall of artwork.
Yeah,
and all of this.
Yeah, he's an artist. So yes,
That's amazing. Wow, that's so lucky.
I know, and it's so awesome. And then I have this like lamp that I think was given to me from the Goodwill, and then my Peloton shoes you can also see in this shot. So nice. What is in the background of you? What painting? What is it?
Which way do I go? It's something I stole from my parents before I went to college. But I was gonna say Annie's boyfriend should make you a little art to cover up that.
Yeah, I need like a green screen. I think
behind you. Yeah.
Like a full blown green screen. I feel like that's probably the way that this should go.
I'm shocked you guys don't have that yet.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it would be something when we started in quarantine. I mean, I just thought, the next week is going to be, we're going to be done with this, and then it just keeps going. You guys
enjoyed podcasting during quarantine? Is it easier or more difficult?
Easier, in my opinion.
Imagine, I would think so. Yeah.
I think what was good.
Easier because.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say it's easier because before I would go over to Bryce's apartment. So like coordinating times was a little bit more difficult. And also now it's so much easier to have guests because we could just have people jump on virtually. And it's, when you're not tacking on 20-minute drives on either end, it's just easier to coordinate all that stuff.
Very true. Did you guys see anything in the documentary that you would use to combine like with your podcast and on social media?
Well, Annie, why don't you tell them what you did when you started watching it?
What I did when what?
Well, no, you called me immediately. You called me like in the middle of it and you were like,
okay. Yeah. So I'm glad that we're bringing this up because I wanted to talk about my experience watching it. So basically I was watching it and my jaw was on the floor the entire time. Like I could not believe the lengths that people go to do this. And so I called Bryce and I can't remember. All I really remember saying is like, Bryce, you're going to want to do all of this.
Yeah.
Like this is insane.
Well,
yeah, I couldn't believe it.
What was so funny is that when you call me, because I had mentioned to Annie, because when I saw that it came out in the trailer and stuff, I was like, this was basically made for us. We should have called our podcast Fake Famous. It should have been like fake famous. But regardless, I thought, well, we should try and get like, you on the podcast. And Annie called me and was like, we should get somebody on the podcast and we should also literally do every single thing that you're going to want to do every single thing that they tell you to do that they're doing in this. And she was right. We'll
get you the links to the software service that they use.
Yeah.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He was like, you're going to have to take my credit card away from me because and I will have to.
I'm curious, what do you guys say to people? I was looking on podcasts and trying to figure this. What do you say, listening and watching yourself on camera? It's kind of traumatizing. Like, how do you get used to your voice or your nervous laugh in the documentary or like stuff like that? What do you guys tell yourselves?
iMovie, first of all. Editing.
Yeah.
Annie, go ahead. What were you, Annie? You go first.
This is going to sound so conceited. I actually like the sound of my voice.
Okay. I like your voice too.
Thank you. I think that I take a lot of pride in the fact that I like speak with conviction and I'm very direct and to the point. And so that part of it has been easy for me. Again, I talk for a living, so I think that's part of it. I hate seeing myself on camera. I always joke that I have a face for podcasting. And that used to work. That used to work really well when we would not post videos and we only posted sound bites, but that doesn't work so well anymore. So I'm trying to embrace this is just like a life journey for me also. Like in past episodes, all of our listeners are going to be like, here Annie goes again with the body dysmorphia. But I'm trying very hard to just be like, this is what I look like. It's not going to change. So like, just be happy with it. And that is that's like my daily affirmation. Like, just be happy with the way you look today.
That is so good, Annie. You're gorgeous. And it's
thank you.
Not just the podcast ring lighting. You look beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, and also Annie thinks that I'm like sabotaging her by posting like the worst photos she's ever taken on the podcast.
Oh, he does.
And it's not true at all. That's not a true thing.
We'll see.
I will say, Wylie, it did take me a little bit to get over my voice. It just took time. I have the opposite problem, complete opposite problem of Annie. I love looking at myself and seeing myself, so that's not a problem. But to hear myself, it was very jarring. I was pulling out my eyebrows when I was listening at first. So that took a little bit, but now I'm okay.
You get used to it, quite honestly. You do get used to it.
And then you're talking all the time, and then people are like, I think it's funny when you say something, and this is totally a non sequitur kind of, but I was like, people will say something that I've said on the podcast, or like Annie, you and I both do this, but we'll say something on the podcast. Maybe you probably think of it when in the film too. You say something and then like, oh, did I say that? When did I say, like, I have no, I don't have any recollection of saying that. What was my mood like? That was I drinking? Was there something? I don't know. So that was
mine. Usually, I'm very sarcastic. So normally somebody will be like, when you said this on the podcast, and I was like, did I sound like a bitch or did it sound genuine?
How did you react, Wylie? How did you react? How did you react to like seeing yourself?
So I was fine with everything. And then, I mean, not that I'm losing sleep over it or anything, but I was like, God, that nervous laughter. Like I've got a nervous tick, and I like my laugh. I can appreciate it. Like people have always said that, but I was like hearing it and seeing it on camera. I was like, I've got to work on a different nervous tick.
I will say this. I did not notice that.
No.
Okay. You. And so I think it's one of those things where I always tell people this too, when they have to do public speaking. Like no one else knows how you feel. No one else knows what you're going to say. Like no one else knows any of those things. So you noticed the nervous laugh because you knew in that moment that you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No one else would realize that. And so if that makes you feel any better, I never at any point thought like this kid is so nervous.
Okay, cool.
And she's had to tell me that so many times that I can't even count. So
yeah,
that is really nice. And I was going to say, it's not even like, everything you said is so nice and true. Bottom. I was like, it applies, and it's so. I hate going back to validation and stuff, but it's so validating to hear like you guys are professionals in this industry, and you guys go through the same things, and it's good advice. It's true. Yeah.
That's also very nice. We call us professionals.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we're the opposite of that. But you were working for a real estate agent at the time of filming. Mm-hmm. And I just am so curious because he sounded like a real so-and-so. But you kept this filming a secret from him. And I wanted to know, one, have you talked to him since it came out, or do you know if he's watched it?
Okay, so you're the first person to ask, and I've been so nervous and scared for someone to ask. I don't know what I'm at liberty to say.
Okay, well, don't say anything that you don't.
Fair, don't get in trouble.
But no, I haven't talked to him. I talked to someone he's close with and who had watched it, and they loved it, and we were giggling and laughing about it and all that stuff. But I haven't talked to him, and I am so curious what he's gonna say. I'm honestly just waiting like for him to show up at my door and like punch me in the face, but I don't know.
You weren't doing anything wrong.
Okay? Like I took those days off. I was not paid for those days, and I was still getting harassed. Okay, like
yeah, you were talking to him. I mean, if you guys have seen the film, he's talking to his boss like almost every scene you're in. You're getting a call from him asking for something. You're total like it's so. Well, I mean, I've been an assistant. I'm
gonna say, I'm sure both of you can relate. Like, you know what it's like being assistant to someone in Los Angeles, to someone in Hollywood, and anyone who's listening. I discourage you from ever being an assistant. Like, but it is wild. I mean, it is. You know what it's like, and it is just so different. I will say, I take back what I just said. Do it because it does teach you so much, and it really does prepare you for the real world. And like. So cheesy. I use this line in interviews, but it turns you into like a Swiss Army knife. And like you can, file their insurance paperwork, do their taxes, pick up their mocha frappuccino, and you can do it all in an hour.
If the government or if celebrity assistants or assistants from Los Angeles and New York were running the COVID or the vaccine relief, like everyone would have been vaccinated by now. Like it's just
so funny. That is so true. Yeah. I was just thinking, I was like,
Wylie, do you still work for this person?
No, I don't. So I had quit literally, I think my last week is a year ago to this week, which is just so crazy to think about. But I put in my 2 weeks
Okay, gotcha.
in February of last year, and I had taken a job and still have a job with this entertainment attorney who is just the coolest chick ever. She's so smart, so great. And I don't even think that she has seen the documentary, but I'm gonna tell her about it.
Like, send her the link.
I mean, I sent her the link when it was the Today Show documentary of the month, but it goes back to like being a Hollywood person's assistant. They got better things to do than watch their assistants, little feature film.
That's still pretty cool. I mean, that's an HBO Max documentary. Everything on HBO Max I enjoy thoroughly. So I think this is really cool for it to come out. Like one of the first things to really get traction, I feel like, as at least from a documentary standpoint.
Okay, I am so curious, and this is such a dumb question, but it's so interesting to hear you guys say it gets traction and stuff, because like I feel like I am so out of that realm, but also I've sort of tried to take myself out of that realm out of fear of looking at a bad review or looking at a negative comment on Instagram. I mean, you saw how sensitive I am, but like,
yeah, and we definitely want to get into that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that, but I mean, I have a lot thicker skin than that documentary sort of made it out to be. But those, you can have 1,000 good comments, and that one bad comment can really just bring you down.
So let's get into your journey actually, because it was an interesting one because you kind of stopped the process. So like, why don't you tell everybody what happened and kind of what brought you to that decision?
I did stop the process. That's all true. And, a lot of it was though that it was so hard to come up with content on our own and stuff to post in, my backyard, also combined with a 9-to-5 job. So it's like, I felt like the odds were against me, which is also me sort of taking the easy way out, but it is hard and it does take a lot of your time, and it does, it is very difficult to keep up with your Instagram and all of that stuff. But I didn't feel like I could fully commit my time, I guess, to it. And so I was not posting, and that just shows you have to keep posting to get that following on Instagram. I mean, it's a scientific equation, and they really had it, nailed down. They had all their facts ready, and I wasn't posting enough. And mainly because it does make you anxious, even if it's all these fake followers that they had bought and we knew they were fake. Now I understand why they're called bots, maybe because they're bought or purchased or whatever.
Deep. That's deep.
That's deep. But even knowing that they were a bunch of fake accounts looking at you, it was just such a weird, I mean, you guys get more and more popularity and it is exciting, but it's also weird to think of strangers looking at your page, and it gives them more opportunity for input, negative or positive. And so you sort of can get in your head and overthink the stranger or that person, if they're real or fake, and what they're thinking of your profile. And it's just that curse of comparing yourself to other people and seeking validation from strangers, which we all get out here in Los Angeles, I'm sure. But it's hard. It is really hard to be on social media, especially as someone who's not 100% confident in themselves.
Well, and speaking from, I would speak for myself. I do not speak for Annie. I've said that multiple times. I do not speak for her. I know better. But I will say I thank God that I have the podcast Instagram, because I get so much anxiety on my own personal Instagram about posting. Like I just posted 2 days ago and I was like toiling, freaking out. I was like, gosh, like if this doesn't, how many likes is this going to get? What is this going to, what are people going to say? Is my caption funny enough? Is this the right photo to use? And you're like, who gives a shit? I mean, I finally had to just tell myself, shut the fuck up. You need to calm down.
So much of it at this point is controlled by the algorithm. That's what I tell myself, because I can't remember if I read an article or if I saw an actual full-time Instagram or influencer talking about this. But apparently if you take 1 day off from posting, the algorithm basically makes it so you don't exist. So unless someone seeks you out, they won't see that post the day after. My problem is. Well, and no, but that's what they're saying. People freak out because the algorithm has it set up where and this makes sense with what you guys did in the documentary. The more you post, the more you show up in people's feeds. So if you take an entire day off, whether it be stories or of a post, you drop so far down and people just never see that. And so I'm a lot more logical than Bryce. And so I tell myself that. And when there's a post Well, it's also really funny too, because like if I post a photo with like one of my siblings that has a lot of followers, that post gets 5 times as many likes because I've tagged them in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all the algorithm just completely fucks with you.
It's so crazy. It's
a game, like you said.
It's a game. It's so weird. And also it's like, I keep on trying to, and I was asking Nick during the interviews that we've been giving, I was like, can you help me come up with like some sort of simile, metaphor, and whatever it's called, to compare it to like a pressure cooker? Like, I feel like we were thrown into a pressure cooker with the likes and the bots and the comments. And I will say we came out a little fried, but I feel like those experiences and traumas made me realize Instagram is so fake. And so now I have no issue posting random shit. Like, I just post some random ass shit the other day, and I was like, whatever, like, I don't care what these people are looking at, I guess. So
I think what happens to you, I mean, we don't have to, like, we want everyone to go watch the film, so I don't want to totally spoil it. I mean, maybe we already have, but I really thought that your perspective was very refreshing, and both Annie and I talked about that. We thought it was just very interesting because it seemed the most sort of normal. I mean, I hate to use that word, but it seemed like this is kind of the reaction that I think the majority of people have to social media. Like, look at all look at all the cyberbullying and all these kids that have Instagram at 13 now, and that, I mean, it totally changes their brain. Like, it in a way that is not healthy. Yeah. And so I think it was really interesting to kind of see. I mean, yes, I'm sure it was very hard. Like, I'm sure it was very hard to go through. So, but I think I just commend you for sharing that, because I think it's really important for people to see.
Of course. Yeah, I agree. Can you remind me where you're from? I know you're not from LA.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you were from the South.
Yeah.
I lived in North Carolina for a while. I love that part of the country.
And it is, I feel like when you say you're from, and people out here don't get it, but like saying you're from North Carolina is like saying you're from Atlanta. Like, it's like being from the South out here in Los Angeles, you're all fam. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But no, just to tack on to what Bryce said, I thought it was very refreshing that you were very honest about it. I also got that a very from Chris. Because he was kind of like, yeah, I'm down for this, but like, I know where I'm going to be with or without all this fake shit. And I'm going to get there by being myself.
Yes. Yeah. And thank you guys for saying that. That's so nice. And it is so interesting seeing, I take back, it's not so interesting to say, watching Chris on camera. I mean, I love Chris in person, everything like that, but I just envy his confidence. And he really is, he knows who he is. He knows what he wants. I still keep in touch with Dom and Chris. I mean, it's been 3 weeks.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, we're all pretty tight. I mean, for, the documentary, we're all very different people, and we all keep in touch and check in with each other. So it was great. And I am so thankful for their friendships in it all. But Chris is so confident, and that is what it takes to make it in this industry, and what it takes, you got to be confident with yourself. And he is.
I wanted to ask you, did you feel like the experience was a little bit like too cookie cutter? Do you think that they should have sort of like diversified your guys' experience to kind of cater to the things that maybe you were more interested in, or did you feel like they did a good job? I mean,
no, I think the issue was, and this is what they learned through the experiment, is they definitely tried to start the 3 of us out with our own personal brand. And they were like, Wylie, you got gay Instagram. I was like, okay. And I was like, sure. Chris, he had his fashion line. He also, is a rapper. He has great music. And so he sort of had that. Dom, she wants to be an actress. And so they had goals. And it's not even the branding that matters. It's if you have a goal and the drive to be famous and, put yourself out there is what really matters. Like they were giving me like gay content and things like that. And they're like, you can hang out with my sister's friend who is gay and Instagram famous. And I was like, sure. I mean, it didn't happen, but they were trying.
Wait, I have a question. How did you feel about that? Because obviously, like, okay, you're gay. That's part of who you are, but that's not the only thing you are. Like, did you have an issue with that, or were you cool with it?
No, so such a good way to put it. I mean, they did not offend me by saying that. I mean, I think that was just good business. Like, they're like, you gotta have and that is part, if you look at Instagram and like you say, it is geared towards women. It's like, you gotta find your niche and essentially your market for who you're going to brand yourself to, because it is all based on money. And so they, that was that. And I wasn't offended. I mean, I got it. And it's like, I think it is smart business once again, but there is more to me. And that is sort of where I was like,
it is all about money. Like that's really the goal of the whole experiment, was to get you guys monetized basically for your Instagram for being influencers. So it's weird to think, because I'm like so focused on like the follower count, because again, it's like, give me a free vacation. I mean,
I'd like to go to
Aruba. I would like to go to Aruba.
Yeah.
Okay. So just give me that. But I think it's really, I think that's a really good point to go back, because it always leads back to money.
I do want to make a comment about the Instagram being tailored to women, as the only woman on this little panel we have.
Yeah.
I do think part of it, I don't want to say all of it, but part of it I think is that, one, women will spend any amount of money to have like that stereotypical look and of like what beauty is. Like the beauty standard is here. Instagram has filters, and you can post Facetune photos and all this stuff, where so many people achieve that beauty standard. And the girls that feel they are below that beauty standard will go to any length to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So brands know that. Like that's why the beauty industry and the weight loss industry and all of that is worth billions and billions of dollars with a B, because girls are so willing. And I know some men are as well, but women are just so into that. And like, it has quite literally fucked with the way that we see ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so I do think that that's part of the reason that women are sucked into it. So like in such a crazy manner, because it has just completely changed the way we view ourselves. And that now, you know, the beauty standard was here before Instagram, and now it's here. And people are just constantly striving to get that, even though, did you guys see the video that just was leaked about Kendall Jenner altering her body in those videos?
I saw something.
No, not that one. I know what you're talking about with that one, but no, she just posted something on her story last night of her like on her knees, which sounds worse than it is, but on her knees, like in the mirror. And she zooms in and you can see that the video editor like glitches on her hips. And it's a video editor that's like made her even thinner in the waist. And it's like, this is like the top paid supermodel in the world.
Yeah.
Like if she's using a video editing app, how is a normal girl in fucking Oklahoma supposed to feel about herself? Like,
true.
You know, and so I think, anyway, I just, as we were talking about that, I think that's why girls are so much more effective.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
it's an industry that just preys on that. And Nick said something that I was like, I didn't even realize that's what Instagram was doing. But like, you know, you'll get alerts that's like, Paris Hilton just posted this photo, go check it out. Or you haven't posted in a while, why don't you log on to Instagram and post something? And it's constantly like, even if you try to get yourself and back yourself out of it, it just draws you back in. And it is so scary. It is very scary.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, and like, as you mentioned, sort of like there is a lot of anxiety that surrounds social media. Like, what kind of advice would you give to people who are maybe struggling with that, or like kind of maybe feeling the same way that you did in the documentary?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simpler than it is, and it's always easier to say it than act it, but it's like, post for yourself. Like, the more you make Instagram, make Instagram casual again, like, you will feel better, and it is true, and then, you know, you will stop caring what people think of your caption or your photos or your abs or your cleavage, like whatever, like you know, you got to just do it for yourself and not care what other people think. And that sounds, once again, simple.
That's great advice. It's just nice to hear. I mean, that's what you should be hearing. Well, you said in the doc that you really weren't sure where you like wanted your next phase in life to go. Kind of, do you feel like do you have any more clarity on, like, do you have a better idea now that it's
yes. And it's funny because I'll look at, not social media, I'll look at articles that will come out about the documentary, and like Dom and Chris have their jobs there, and like I've gotten the most like I got like art student, real estate assistant, like measly low level exec. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god!
I know,
low level executive.
And on the New York, they did an article on the New Yorker, and I thought of you guys. It came out yesterday, and in the description, it's like 3 nobodies in Los Angeles.
I saw that. I saw you posted that. I was like, yes, that's
good, right?
That's exactly right.
I am excited, and I do think the documentary had a lot to do with it. But I am waiting to hear back from grad schools to get like my master.
Fantastic.
Eventually get my MFT and hopefully become a therapist or a school counselor. And it is just really sort of brought me down to earth, this whole experience, and like made me want to do something that actually helps people. And I do think there's a clearly, going back to my sister, this generation of, millennial Z, whatever it is, and they're not going to have the support from mental health professionals who actually know what it's like to use social media. And I mean, I know my 45-year-old.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like I know that they know what Snapchat is, but they don't know the depths and what, leaving someone on red means on Snapchat, or leaving someone on red on Instagram, like that kind of stuff. And so
I feel like the mental health professionals are
awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I feel like the mental health professionals now are like just figuring out how to deal with people that are affected from the video games they played as a kid. So like we have another like 15 years of going before they know what to do with the social media. So that's incredible. I love that.
So true. I know. And I was like, you know what? Mental health, because of the pandemic, I was like, what is my next step that's recession proof? And mental health is recession proof. If anything,
true.
I don't mean to laugh about that, but like that was
no, it's true. Yeah. But I'm excited. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, seriously, good luck. That's amazing. Okay, before we get to our special segment, I do have one final question to ask you. Do you miss calzones?
I miss calzones so much. I ordered one last night from Postmates. And
Are you serious?
They got it in the order. I was like,
oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? And the amount of DMs I get, they're like, Wylie, live your truth and eat that calzone. I'm like, all right.
I can't believe people aren't like sending you calzones by now. They're like,
I know.
Like, here's my address.
Yeah. Annie and I, Wylie, little context. Annie and I know each other because our moms were really good friends. We're both from Nebraska and we've known each other for our whole lives. But our moms were friends before we were. So anyway, we like to involve them in our podcast since they're kind of the foundation. But for these somebody sessions, we thought it'd be fun to ask one of them to submit a question to ask our somebodies. Today's mom question comes from my mom, Jane. She watched the documentary, as I mentioned. She does want to know about your relationship with social media now, and kind of what do you think of influencers? Do you think most are real? Do you think they're or fake? Or what is sort of your relationship all encompassing now?
Okay, so what's your mom's name again?
Jane.
Jane. Okay, Jane, I will answer your question. Thank you, Jane. It's so nice to meet you. Watching, and thank you for your question.
Yes.
Yes, my relationship with social media, I go back to what I said, sort of a laissez-faire approach, right? I think that's what that means. Yeah. Post whatever you want. Like I literally posted like a photo of a trash can with a balloon in it yesterday. Like and then on going back to social media and influencers, I think about Dom, and Chris and I had very different experiences than Dom, but that does not make Dom any less down to earth than, she is. And she is a hustler and a smart girl. And I respect all the influencers a lot because it does take a very confident person who believes in themselves and, has these goals, and they're hustlers. And so I respect them. And I mean, it might be fake. I don't know, but they got to do what they got to do to get that bread. I hope that this documentary just brings her so much, positive attention to her craft and her career.
Yeah.
I'm always so impressed when people can go to a photo shoot that aren't like professional models. And as soon as the camera comes out, they just like hit poses. When
Annie, that's you. You do that.
No, it's not, Bryce, because don't you remember when we did our photo shoot for the podcast? I was like, what do I do with my hands?
Exactly.
The whole time I was like,
put your hands.
Yeah, like I just didn't know what to do with that. So I'm always so impressed.
What out for it is I had to have a photo shoot to get some content, and we were in Venice Beach, like the boardwalk, and I was like, this is so uncomfortable. Like I don't want to take photos in front of these people. Like I don't know what to do with my hands. Like it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's horrible. I also always say like I have no idea what my face looks like. So like I might be hitting a pose that I think looks great, and then I get it back and there's like 6 chins and one eye's closed, and like I'm just like, what is happening? Christ. Like that's not what I've pictured in my brain. What's going on?
Thank God Instagram and social media is so fake. They can fix anything though.
That's so true.
Filters, yeah. All right. So to end our somebody sessions, we like to ask the same 3 questions to everybody. So are you ready, Wylie? By the way, I do have a funny story really quickly with Annie. I sent Annie like a bunch of questions, and I kept, for some reason, my brain was being dyslexic, and I kept thinking that when I would spell out your name, Wylie, it kept to me looking like Wylie. So I spelled it phonetically, like YWHY-LEE. And Annie, go ahead.
I was like,
her.
I texted him and I was like, why are you spelling that out like that? And he was like, oh, it's just for me. So I pronounce his name correctly. And I was like, how else would you pronounce it?
Wait, are you serious? I get it. I got it pronounced wrong today. I get it pronounced wrong every day. I get Wylie, Heiner, almost.
Stop.
I get it all the time. I get Wylie pretty much every single time, or Riley, but the spelling has never been correct. It's
that's so funny.
I'll be honest.
I don't know why. I know it's why. I watched a documentary. I knew it was Wylie, but I just kept thinking it looks like Wylie to me. I don't want to be like, all right, Wylie, let's just go to the next segment.
Oh God, people are not very smart.
Oh, dumb. Why goals? Like.
Oh my God,
Annie,
that's crazy.
Annie, are you ready to administer?
I am. So these are our 3 questions. They're a little bit rapid fire. The first is, what is your favorite hard seltzer?
White Claw mango.
White Claw mango? Oh, that's the only flavor I don't like. But I do
you like White Claw lime?
Yeah.
But
But I'm 31. I'm 31, so I blame it on that.
Your taste buds are
My taste buds have really ditched out on me.
Okay, that was a warm-up question. Next
okay.
one.
Yeah. So the next one is, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
What?
It can be very simple too.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Love that.
Love that.
And very on brand.
Love it.
Okay, and then the third one is, what do you believe that you're an expert of?
People person.
Love it.
Love
That's
it.
a good one.
That's a
really good one.
We haven't had that one either. That's really good. That seems like a
pride
no-brainer.
myself on that. I hope I am a people person and that I'm not just, repeating that in affirmation.
But anyway, all right, you guys, that is our show. Thank you so much, Wylie, for hanging out with us. You can and should follow him on Instagram at Wyles. Am I saying that correctly?
I do it. Wiles.
Obviously, Bryce.
I don't know. That's WYLEZZZ, 3 Z's. And if you haven't already, please go watch Fake Famous, streaming now on HBO Max. Congratulations again, and good luck on everything. Thank you so much. Do you want to plug anything else?
No, sorry, that was Annie's turn. Go, Annie.
No. Do you want to plug anything else before I take it away?
Anything else? No, yeah. I just want to say hi to my mom and thank you, mom. Fam, but thank you guys for having me. I'm serious. This was my second podcast and I loved it. It was fun.
Well, we really appreciate it. We're so
Thank you so much for coming on. Wylie's mom, I'm really sorry for my language. Also, you guys, if you are not following us yet on Instagram, please do so. This is where the Fake Famous thing comes in. It's at nobodiespod, at Annie_Wilk, at Bryce Advice. It's the exact same on TikTok. Twitter is at nobodiesthepod. Same for our personals. And you can always email us at noexpertallopinion@gmail.com. And you guys, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review.
Thanks, guys. We hope you have an amazing weekend.
And more importantly, a mediocre week. Thanks, guys. The Nobodies podcast is produced by me, Annie Wilkinson, and Bryce McClay.
It is recorded remotely in small, crummy apartments in the San Fernando Valley.